So we've got this big chunk of dacite here, and I'm gonna try to do like a step-by-step walkthrough on it of like exactly what I'm doing and exactly why I'm doing it. So let's see what we can do here. I need to find my big bopper. I just had it in my hand. No idea where I set it at. Yep, I got it. Alright, so first things first, since this side is like nice and flat, this is the side that came off, you know, the inside of the rock. This is the side that was the outside, the exterior. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get the majority of this off. And since there's no like readily available platforms, I'll probably have to turn this edge up. I may be able to get this. This is pretty close to the other side, so I may go ahead and mess with that first. Let's see. Let's set up a platform right there. And I'll probably use my leg pad for some of this and my hand for some of this. Some of these big flakes that run down the point are really nice to get out on a leg pad. So let's try to take the majority of this off and see what we can do. That will do it. That worked out perfectly, except for whatever's going on right there. I think what that is, as soon as how this was the outside of the rock, at one point in time something hit it right there, and that's like an old Hertzian cone. So something hit it directly on, and that's how the flake acts when you hit something like that. But we took out the large majority of the back of this with that one flake, which is awesome. So I really want to get this off, and it's square, and I don't see another way to do it besides bring this up. So let's do that. Just bring it up to this side. There we go. Now I should be able to braid it, and we'll do the same thing we just did on the front, and we'll try to run through there. I hope it doesn't stop at that. We'll see if it stops there. It shouldn't. Good. Yep, it went right through it. Now I still have another platform kind of left over right there. We'll go ahead and hit it too. Got rid of a lot of it. Now we've got this square edge down the back, and I just want to lightly zigzag it off of there. Okay. There's a really good little platform right here, and since we're kind of getting everything kind of flattened out, I can kind of start thinning in from both sides. So I want to braid right here and drive a flake in there. I love a good easy one like this, you know, one that doesn't have a bunch of problems. Another little good platform right there, just needs to be abraded. We just set up another platform right there to take this off. Let's see, it should kind of run this ridge line down into there. there's the ridge line that we had on there, still on the flake, and now it's gone from here. Let's see what else we got going on here. I wouldn't mind taking one right here either. So let's see if we can braid that a little bit. Alright, I want to take one right here and have it run down through there. Beautiful. Did exactly what I wanted it to. Did get a little hingy right there at the end, but not a big deal. Now that's gone. Another one right there at the tip. We gotta get rid of this. Like, whatever that is needs to go. So I'm trying to use the edge of my bopper to kind of not take a very big flake right there, and I'm turning my point up, or my piece up on an angle to be able to take a small flake out of there. There we go. As you can see, most of that is gone now. Take a couple in here from this back. Take one right here. One right there. Now we got this little area. It's kind of a remnant of that other one that needs to go. Try to clean it up a little bit, and then come in and take some good flakes. I want to kind of set this back up a little better. That'll probably work. Needs a braiding. So what I'm trying to do here is, I can't hit that directly, it's way too much. I'm trying to hit this edge. I don't know if y'all can see that. There's an edge right here. I'm going to try to hit it down, run a flake through here, and I'm going to use the side of my bopper to hit that. And that got rid of most of that weirdness that was going on there. So we've turned this into a pretty good biface. A little thick back here at the back, but overall not bad. Now what we need to do is just kind of thin it out the rest of the way. So we've got a good platform at the back right there, should be able to hit this. So this is dacite, so it works really well, and I don't have to hit it super hard. So I want to run some flakes into here. So we've already kind of got the edge turned that way, so I'm just going to use my abrader, set up some more platforms. So if you'll look, I'll hit right here, and it should take a flake to in here somewhere, and maybe about this wide. And then we'll flip it over and I'll take some off of this side. It took two. I wish I had caught those. It took one here, and then they were divided in the middle, and then one here. Not a big deal, but that was interesting. What that means is that I hit two platforms at once. I didn't mean to do that, but I'm using, you know, a giant bopper. So, let's see, what else do we want to do here? Man, this thing's looking pretty good overall. I use a braiding to set up a lot of my platforms. And I try to use my previous platforms to set up my new platforms. So now we've got, this is kind of like a continuous platform I'll be able to take into here. Yeah, that one got a little steppy on me right there. Too high to the other edge probably. I think I'm about to have to switch over to the indirect. Let's take a couple more. Or I could switch over to a smaller bopper too. Could run a couple right there too. Guys, right now what I'm doing is I'm just trying to thin it out, make sure everything's even. And by even, I mean I have a pretty established center line. I don't have it going all over the place like it is now, or really not as much now, but like it was. Okay, that's probably enough of that. Let's move over to something else. There's a couple problem areas I want to get, and it'll be easier to get with the indirect. But if you wanted to just make a blade, we're there. It's a little thick, but it would totally work. But I want to refine it. I'd like to keep some of that width. I'm bad about pushing thickness to the absolute maximum, and you don't have to do that. And a lot of times it costs me a lot of my size. All I'm doing now is just trying to thin it out a little bit more. There's nothing too crazy to go through here. I'm gonna intentionally set up some platforms to try to get some of this out and that out. So that actually happened when I was braiding. I hit it and it did that. I can probably bring this edge down to this side and take most of that out. Let's do that. Then I'm probably going to run around it with pressure a couple times. Try to set up something a little better. There we go. That's all gone now. That's nice. You gotta love it when something works like it's supposed to. So now this side's nice and clean. Now over here, the best way to attack this side is from the back right there, which it's thick back there anyway, so. I don't want to hit this point on the back at all if I can help it. I broke several dacite points lately. I had never napped a big piece of this before. I had only napped small spalls and stuff. I wasn't really sure how it napped. I broke some pretty nice stuff striking on the end, which I can get away with on flints and cherts and stuff, but for some reason I couldn't get away with it on this, and I just had to do it 6 or 7 times until I figured it out. Like I can pressure flake this off probably, like this mass back here. Normally I'd hit it, but like I said, I broke so much stuff recently trying to do that. I don't want to do it. I broke this yesterday. It was almost finished. I struck it at the back. As a matter of fact, I think it was that flake right there. It ran there and hinged and then snapped it. So I wasn't very happy about that. I broke that yesterday with an overshot, and it was about half finished. So I broke something else. I don't know where it is. It wasn't as, big, so I didn't save it. Like that stuff, I'll still make stuff out of what I just threw down there. But if it's much smaller than that, I'll either put it in a box to give away to people or just throw it in my pile. So this actually looks pretty good. Let's see, what can we, which obviously dacite can be struck from the end. It's just I'm not gonna want to do that if I can pressure flake it off. Been working on my pressure work, so but I do like a thin base. And what I need to do is, I'll take a couple more flakes off of this, a couple more opportunistic flakes. So when I ground it, I saw a couple platforms there, and possibly that. Depends on how stout I think that's going to be by the time I get back there. But, what was I saying? Oh. I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, I want my bases thin for multiple different reasons. One being, it makes it so much easier to notch when you have a thin base, and 2, if you're gonna haft it, which I tend to make quite a bit of stuff out of these, one way or another, little knives or whatever. Makes it a lot easier to haft when you don't deal with a big old fat base. come on, we're trying to make, I mean, really, whether you think it or not, if you're a flint knappist, you're doing a form of art. You're an artist, so you should be trying to make, anything you make should try to be better than the last thing you made, in my opinion. Thin that base out pretty good with that one. Pretty good. I ran in there and hinged a little, but I'll get that. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. It definitely doesn't respond to the sharper impulse of the indirect percussion as well as some other stuff. Flints, cherts, and hard stuff seem to do really well with the indirect. Soft stuff like obsidian and this don't like it as much. It's a little, probably a little shocking, a little jarring. It has to do with, if I understand this correctly, rocks have tensile strength just like anything else does, and when you hit them, they flex. Maybe a microscopic amount that they flex, but they flex. So, different rocks flex better than other rocks. So, the harder they are, the better they flex. And obsidian and dacite and the more glassier materials aren't as hard. You have to, I think it's called the Mohs hardness scale, which is used for like geological stuff. I think glass and obsidian are like a 6. I think like a diamond would be like a 9, I think. And don't quote me on that. You'd have to look it up. But, flints and cherts are somewhere around the maybe 7-ish. And I think glass and obsidian can be as low as 5. Which, I don't know how to correspond that in real world for you. So like, anyway, it's not as tough, which makes it nap better. You know, you don't have to heat treat obsidian. Well, you can't, but that's another story. But y'all get what I'm saying. That's one reason I like the Texas materials, is because you can beat on them day and night and make all kinds of mistakes, and I don't care. It doesn't matter. Some of them are so tough. Alright, let's run some pressure flakes. And when I'm pressure flaking, I'm just going to flip it to one side and take off the low spots on that side. Flip it back over and take off the low spots on this side until I get my center line like perfect. Or close to perfect. Perfect as I can get it. So right now I'm not doing anything like crazy special. Just not trying to get a pattern or anything. If we get one, cool. I do like to see the flake scars, but I'm just trying to refine that center line a little more, make it uniform. So see, now it's almost straight down dead center. A lot of times I'll come through, I'll nap the point down pretty thin, or I can start running some pressure on it, I'll run a couple passes of pressure, get everything cleaned up. Then I'll come back and I'll find areas I want to get with the indirect. And now that I've got my edge like right where I want it, I can take a couple pressure flakes right there, set something up, take 1 or 2 flakes, and get whatever I'm trying to get off. And in my opinion, that's a good way to do that. You run much less of a risk of breaking something. This is a little thick. I'd sure like to thin it out some. I think I want to take flakes off of this side. The other side is almost convex. I know, I'm whittling it down, but I can't have it thick. I mean, I could, I just don't want to. Let me clean this up with the file real quick. I have a file somewhere. Try to clean this end up. I thought I had a file somewhere. No, I do, I just had it yesterday. There it is. Clean the tip of that flaker up. When it has those little, like where it's been hitting the rock, it doesn't work as well. For a long time I didn't believe that. I just kept using it, but you can tell a difference. Cut that out probably, but now you see how the tip looks, and that's about the right tip size. It doesn't need to be super crazy pointy or anything. Now let's see what we're working with here. Okay, base is thick, so I'd love to drive some flakes in there. I want to take flakes off of out of the middle here and out of the ends here. That's kind of how the point is telling me to do it. And that's due to, you know, convexity or whatever you want to call it. So let's try to do the base real quick. I'm trying to avoid hitting the back, like directly on the back. Sides of the back are okay. Just don't want to hit directly on the back. Focusing here, guys. Focusing. Doing that pressure around the edges like that, and then coming back, setting up a few spots you want to take a flake, it will make a world of difference. Just those few flakes I took right there really help clean this thing up. And then obviously we can come back with pressure again in just a minute and clean it up some more. That one stepped on me. I don't want to bring that base in anymore, but I'm probably going to have to get some of that crap off of there. I was trying to do it really light, didn't want to take massive huge flakes there, but I'm probably going to have to set up a little better platform. Unfortunately, cost us a little bit of width. I mean, we still got plenty for an arrowhead or a spear point. I mean, it's not technically an arrowhead. There we go. Got a bunch of it. I'm just examining. Just examining, seeing where we want to go next with it. Came really close to overshooting right there. Gotta watch that. Yo, if y'all notice, I don't know if y'all can tell, I ain't hitting it that hard. Trying not to hit it that hard. Just trying to strategically take a couple here and there. I think I can get that off either with pressure or cheat a little. It's okay to cheat a little. Everybody does it. Everybody does it. Because I don't care how good you are. Well, I don't know if this is true, but I think it is. Care how good you are, every once in a while you make a mistake when you're napping. Okay, let's pressure flake this edge again. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pressure flake it like the same thing we did last time. I'm gonna run around and take off all my low spots on one edge, then I'm gonna flip it over and take off all my low spots on another edge, and then I'll come back and see what my center line's looking at, see if there's anything else I want to take off. We're not doing bad. We're pretty much complete right now. There's some work I'd like to do on this base. There's a couple steps and stuff in here I'd like to get rid of, and we may be able to get rid of them, or they may just have to stay. It doesn't hurt anything. Don't break something to get a step fracture off. Just learn how not to do them. Which obviously that sounds that sounds terrible because I just put some in there. But what I'm saying is, learn from your mistakes. Like, oh, well, what caused that? Why did that hinge? 9 out of 10 times it's because you didn't have platform side up right. At least for me. Or you didn't hit it correctly. But a lot of times it has to do with where your platform was over center, or you know, you didn't have your platform set up just correctly, didn't have it abraded enough, something like that. It has to do with platform prep. And I mean, that's not bad. I don't know if y'all can see that, but that's not bad, is it? I could probably get that off too. This side's pretty clean overall. Of course, we've done it again. We've played with it and played with it and played with it till it's narrow and lost all our width, but I have a bad habit of doing that. That was a pretty good chunk of rock. Probably could have made somebody a little more skilled, probably could have made big old point out of it, but not me. We're gonna whittle it down until we get what I'm gonna chase it until I get exactly what I want out of it, or as close as I can get to exactly what I want out of it. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. Pay for my own rock. I'd like to learn a little bit more about how to do that, but a lot of that has to do with what you do in the very beginning, how quickly you thin it out. Which we thin that pretty quick with those big flakes right there in the beginning, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. It also matters how do you continue from there. If that makes sense. Like, are you maximizing the potential of every flake? I don't know if y'all have ever played pool, or even chess is kind of similar to this. Flintknapping is kind of like a chess game, not chest game. Sorry, from the south. But you're honestly trying to think 10 moves ahead. Like, how is what I'm doing right here gonna affect me 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes down the road? Like, if I take this flake, how's that set me up for what's gonna happen in just a little bit? Just like in pool, if I take this shot, I want it to set me up for the next shot, or screw the next guy out of his shot. Same kind of thing. Like, if it literally goes all the way down to when you're taking the spall off the rock to begin with. Like, if you're taking a spall off of a big chunk of dacite or whatever, it comes all the way back to that point. Like, when I take this spall, this cortex on the outside, how's that going to affect me when I come back to napping my point? Well, I'll have to get all that cortex off. Okay, well then my size is going to be smaller. Okay, well I don't care. I guess I'll just live with it. That's fine. You know, whatever. But that's what I'm saying is, it all coincides. I hope that makes sense. I didn't explain that very poetically. I'm just examining again, seeing how everything looks. Probably one more pass of pressure and then notch it. Just trying to look here and see, kind of think about it a little, see what's going on, see what could possibly be made from it, point style wise. Ended up pretty narrow, which is not a bad thing. But it also ended up being pretty clean, which is a good thing. Taking my time a little bit more for you guys. I nap better off video. Personally, I feel like I do. I get distracted and I come out here and I'm like, oh, I just want to make a video. But, you know, at the same time, it needs to be decent quality. Can't be off camera like I just was right there. I don't know how much of this video has been off camera. I forget to look. I'm just doing my thing. That's what I'm, you know, concerned about. And it seems like people have really liked the content, though. I mean, more than I expected, honestly. And I appreciate that. We've officially reached 100 subscribers, and we'll be doing a giveaway. And I'll post a whole separate video talking about that. I might post it today. Today is the 22nd, I think. So, y'all probably see this the same day I'm napping it, I would think. Unless I get hung up on editing, which there's not a ton of editing to do. It's not 1,000 degrees outside, so my camera hasn't shut off 3 times on me, which it likes to do when it's super hot. It's early in the morning, probably 8 o'clock, probably 85 degrees outside. Florida. Ooh, that's good for it. I'm glad that didn't hurt it. I'd have been really upset. I do that a lot, though. Drop them. Try to pick that off. Then we'll refine it. I'll do some kind of notching. I redid my horseshoe nail notcher with something a little different. We're gonna try it and see if it works. This isn't copper. It looks like copper, but it's not. What it is a 1/8" TIG welding rod. It's just like it's actually copper coated, but it's just mild steel. But it's round, so what it does is it doesn't bend as easy as that horseshoe nail does. Put a lot more pressure on it. I could have used a nail, but I have lots of welding rods lying around, so I just grabbed one of them. I thought about trying a stainless one, but Figured that would probably be a bad idea. Stainless is typically harder than mild steel. That seems to work really good. Got most of that crap off of there with it. Cut myself too. And that wasn't on a flake, that was actually on the side of the point, which means it did a pretty good job sharpening it, huh? Wasn't even attempting to sharpen it. I was just trying to pressure flake it, but it is pretty sharp. I can feel it in my hand. Yeah, that works way better than the horseshoe nail does. At least for that kind of stuff. You can really put some force behind it. Again, you can do the same thing with a nail. Doesn't have to be a welding rod. I just grabbed what I had lying around. Trying to just work my way through it here, guys. You know, if y'all don't like seeing this, tell me. I'll edit it out when I do my videos. But everybody usually leaves positive feedback. So I don't it seems like the people who are viewing the channel daily leave positive feedback. I get some dislikes and stuff, but I think that comes from external sources. YouTube has this like weird, the algorithm on YouTube is weird, which I'm sure if you watch a lot of YouTube you already know. It'll just recommend stuff to people who aren't interested in flint knapping, and man, if you aren't interested in this, you're not going to like an hour-long video of somebody sitting here. You're going to want a 5-minute short or a TikTok about it, you know. But if you like flint napping, you like sitting here watching this kind of stuff, or at least the people who like sitting here watching this kind of stuff are usually flint nappers, not the other way around. I know who my target audience is, at least, let's put it that way. It ain't people my age. What do you think? How's that look? We're getting there? I think we are. That tip is so weird looking. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It just looks odd the way I have it kind of tapering in right there towards it. But I really like how pointy it is, so leaving it. It looks kind of interesting, that's for sure. All right. What do we want to do? I watched Jack Crafty make a point one time. He's got a video on it, and it was called a Redding side notch, and he had like corner notched it here. This was concave, and it did the same thing. It curved into a really pointy tip like that, and I think his was made out of dacite too. And that's not what I was going for, but since we're here, let's do it. Pretty good looking thing we got going on there. So I'm gonna come in about a quarter, try to angle up, come in about a quarter, try to angle up. I'm trying to make it as wide as that flaker. That flaker's an 1/8 inch, so let's do that, see what happens. I may have to change my camera angle a little bit so I can be a little better spot. I don't like leaning over that much, sorry guys. I have a real camera now. I'm filming this on a GoPro. I don't know. It seemed like the thing to buy at the time. I just bought it the other day. I don't like doing it on my phone because my phone's constantly ringing or blowing up, and people will be calling me while I'm trying to nap. That's not a bad notch. come in from the other side. I'd like that to be a little deeper, but we're gonna have to touch up our flaker real quick. Bear with me. We may flatten this guy out at some point, but kind of want to see how it worked like this, because it seems to me when you flatten them out, they lose strength, although theoretically they should be stronger. And what I'm talking about is they bend, not necessarily they don't flake as well, they just bend. Yeah, that's going good. Just needed a little touch up on that flaker there. Awesome, that's plenty deep. Now we want to do the same thing from the other side. And like I said, I went up about a quarter, so let's try to get that right. That's important. And then angling in, it's also important. If you don't angle them enough, or if you angle them wrong, they don't look as good. Like if the angles don't match, basically what I'm saying. Y'all don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. I really do hope I'm teaching people stuff, but like I said, man, I'm not. I probably shouldn't be making YouTube videos. I don't know. I guess I can. There's no law that says I have to know what I'm talking about. I also just don't want to give people bad information. That'll get you criticized in a heartbeat. I don't want to give people bad information. You want to help people learn to nap. I know this is probably the most boring part of the video for everybody, but it's also just part of the process. You gotta pressure flake it, you gotta notch it. You can't just not do it. Well, you could just make big blades. There's a guy that has shorts where he just makes big blades. I mean, they're good. There's nothing wrong with them. They're great. I actually really enjoy watching them. He's a good napper too, and he uses all labo. If y'all want to look him up, I think he makes just, as far as I know, he makes just shorts. He's particularly pretty well to do in the YouTube world. I think his name is Lava Blades, which also cool name, more original than North Florida Knapping, but hey, get off my case. I'm just a dude doing dude things. Alright, this needs to be sharpened again. We're killing ourselves here. I really like the way that this is working though. And it fits right in the dang little horseshoe nail thing that I already had. So it fits right in the handle. Right in the handle. So didn't have to make any new tools, didn't have to modify anything. It just goes right on in there. Sorry, I'm probably off camera again. Man, I'm begging y'all to leave me more feedback. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what you want to see, please. Comment. Shoot me a message on Instagram. Just tell me. Some of y'all are really good about that. You know who you are. And I'm not saying that it's a problem if you don't. I just really, really, really appreciate it when you do. You know, somebody was telling me they have a bigger YouTube channel than me, and they were telling me how to use hashtags the other day in a comment to kind of help promote the video. Somebody else was, I think it might have been the same guy, was telling me about how to use a nail for this, and I was like, well, these TIG rods are 36 inches long, so I can get quite a few out of one, and like I said, I've got a ton of them. So I just grabbed one of them instead of a nail. He said to flatten it, but I'm not a good listener. I don't listen. He's probably right. No, he is right. It needs to be flat. And again, he knows who he is. Y'all know who he is too if you read the comments. Alright, that's pretty good. I really like it. I've always wanted to make one of these. Ever since I saw that video, I thought it was super cool. And I have pretty much copied it from memory. I'm not looking at a picture of it, but I pretty much copied it verbatim. Same stone, same little weird concave tip thing going on. I really couldn't be happier. I think in that video he called it a redding side notch. So I hope I've done a good job today doing a little more explanation, a deeper dive. So I feel like most people were watching the end of the video to see what the point ended up looking like. So let me do some shameless plugs real quick here. Two things. Please, 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 please subscribe if you like the channel. Comment. Give me some feedback. Tell me what you want to see. You know, mention it to your buddies, blah, blah, blah. And also, 100 subscriber giveaway coming up. And I'll make a video about that most likely today, and we'll do a giveaway. So, thank y'all again. I really appreciate it. And we'll catch you on the next one.